I'm gonna have live on Facebook. Good morning and welcome to FrankTalks. I'm Mindy Tate and I want to welcome you to FrankTalks, and we're going to today talk about catching up as a community. Again, I'm Mindy Tate with Franklin Tomorrow, and I want to welcome you to this webinar. We're going to be here about an hour, and we've got some great guests with us this morning. We've got Dr. David Snowden of the Franklin Special School District, Valencia Breckinridge, the CEO of Graceworks. We've got Ondrea Johnson with the Williamson County Animal Center. And we're going to start by talking with Nicole Volk from Williamson Medical Center. Nicole is one of our partners in presenting FrankTalks. Williamson Medical Center and Renaissance Bank are our partners in presenting this monthly series, and we appreciate their support so much. Now, Nicole, you've got a little update to give us about, since we're catching up as a community, you've got a little bit of an update to give us to tell us how Williamson Medical Center is doing through this process and what's next.
And I just want to start by saying how much we appreciate the community and all of their support. That has been absolutely essential for the medical center through all of this, and for sure need to make sure that we say that first. Just like everybody, things a little bit calmer in the hospital with COVID over the last few weeks. We're just slowly trying to get back to business as normal. And the biggest thing I think I want to share with the community is to urge people not to put off medical needs, not to delay care. We're seeing a lot of that happening. People are afraid to come to the hospital, and there's no need to be afraid. It's probably safer here actually than a lot of places you go because of all the precautions that we're taking. All of our caregivers are wearing face masks. Everybody is screened thoroughly when they come in. We're practicing safe distancing. We're limiting the number of visitors, constantly cleaning and disinfecting. And so we just really want to urge people not to put off that critical medical care. We don't want a second health crisis on our hands, other than the COVID that we're facing right now. So it's so important, and you all have a lot of precautions in place. If someone has a physician in the bone and joint clinic or even in the tower there, those precautions are in place, right? They absolutely are. So if you need us, please come. Don't be afraid to come here. And we have a quick video from our partners at Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, just to talk a little bit more about what to expect when you do come back. So we'll go ahead and share that, and then get on with the program.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I don't think the audio was working for some people, so maybe we could show it at the end, or we can send it out when you send out the...
We will try to send that out and include it. Sometimes it's Monday morning all day long.
We all understand, for sure. Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
And the way it goes.
Thanks, Nicole. And
thank you guys.
And if we get any questions, we'll be sure and send those to you and then try to send out those answers. But
absolutely. Any questions are welcome.
about what's going on at Williamson Medical Center, just send those in, and we will try to get them answered and sent out as part of the follow-up to this meeting. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Have a great day.
You too.
So we also have a video, and perhaps we'll have better luck, from Renaissance Bank, our other partner, and Tony Sharp, one of their senior VPs. So let's see if we can play that video and have audio. Well, it seems like we are having audio issues. I don't know if we need to unmute that computer that is playing those. Might have been the answer there, but yeah.
The tagline personal, we bring a personal touch to what we do in banking. It's a little bit different than a lot of the other banks out there. We still believe that that personal touch is important. I tell a lot of younger people that you still want to know who your banker is. You never know when a financial situation may come up and you need to speak to someone in person. I think that's crucial to have these days.
For sure. Okay. Thank you so much. And we'll get those videos as we send out the link to the this program, which will have all the components of the program. We'll get that sent out to you today. So, okay, great. So just want to move into our program now, and we are catching up as a community today. And I see Mayor Moore is on here, and I'm going to try to upgrade him to give him the chance to give us a little update. Mayor Moore, I see you there. And if you want to share your video, or if you just want to give us an update, I'll unmute you. Mayor Moore, I've unmuted you. There you are.
Here I am. Good morning to you. And everybody had a good weekend, and I just got off another call, so I'm scrambling to catch up. But I see a lot of friendly faces here in front of me. Good opportunity to talk. But I did want to maybe make a comment, if I could, about COVID-19. You know, we've had a lot of things happening, and I think we've gotten distracted from what we need to be doing as far as preventing spread of the coronavirus. We're seeing an uptick in our numbers. We've had several days where we were in double digits recently, and I think some of that may be expected because we are opening up and expanding how many people can be together. But my concern is that people have let down on following the Tennessee Promise, or rather the Tennessee Pledge. I think it's in our businesses. I think it's in our restaurants. I've done some walking around, and you know, it's distressing. This thing isn't over, and the worst thing that could happen to us would be to have another bump and have to go backwards with what we're doing as far as reopening. So I encourage you, if you go into business and they're not doing what you think they need to do to protect you, I think you need to say something. And certainly that's the word from the governor's office. I was on a call with Commissioner Ezell the other day, and he was talking about what we were doing as far as Tennessee Pledge Partners, where our communication department is asking people that see businesses and people doing the right thing as far as Tennessee Pledge to give them a shout out and let us put them on our website and have that conversation, you know, about what they're doing. And I think it's okay to call them out on social media if they're not doing it. I know my wife, she called where she goes to get her hair done the other day and says, y'all aren't wearing masks, I'm not coming back, period. And so, I mean, that's one of the closest contact things there is hairdressers. So, so anyway, that's my little stump speech today. And thanks for the opportunity to say a word.
Well, I have my mask and ready to go here in our office building, and Mayor Moore's got his, and I think we all are concerned about it. We know you're busy, and we appreciate your time this morning just to catch us up as a community this morning, and we'll see you soon, and thank you for your time this morning, Mayor.
Hey, my pleasure. Back to work.
Thanks so much.
Have a good Frank Talks.
And we're excited. We're going to talk about our All-America City nomination next and catch people up on that. So we're excited to be working with the city on that project as well.
We're excited too to be working with you on it. Thanks.
Great. Thanks. So thank you all for being here this morning. We are now live on Facebook as well as having this session here. Again, I'm Mindy Tate, Executive Director of Franklin Tomorrow, and we've got a good crowd on here this morning. And this is about catching up as a community. There's a lot going on in our community and a lot of things that are affecting your life. But we want to kind of concentrate on some of the good things that have happened over the past few months as we talk this morning. First, I'm going to catch you up on Franklin Tomorrow, and we have had a really exciting and busy time. Even though we worked from home for almost 3 months, we are now back in our office with our mask and with our hand sanitizer and trying to stay virtual at this time. But this Franklin Tomorrow was founded 20 years ago this year, and we just want to give you some insight into those past 20 years. A group of community leaders headed by Julian Bibb and Mike Alday, Gail Moyer-Harris, a number of people came together in 2000 to create Franklin Tomorrow. Their work was very internal for the first year, and then it became a public group in 2001. We, in conjunction with the Heritage Foundation, held our first chili cook-off probably 19 or 20 years ago. A lot of familiar faces in these slides. We created our New Growth Deep Roots lecture series. That was a great thing, and you'll see our dear friend Ann Rutherford in that picture, and in the first picture you see Tennessee Supreme Court Justice Cornelia Clark. We've enjoyed a great time in those first few years. The organization has evolved during the last 20 years, and we've done a lot of great projects and had a number of things to be proud of. But in the last 5 years, we're very proud to have been part of a public-private partnership to help the city of Franklin purchase a new Christmas tree, which many of us enjoy each holiday season. We also created this series, the Frank Talks monthly lecture series. It started as quarterly, but the demand was there for us to make it a monthly series. And then we also, in 2018 and 2019, brought the On the Table initiative to Franklin to help people talk about what's good in our community, what can be better, and how as engaged citizens we can make it better, what role we play. Our mission is to engage the community, foster collaboration, and advocate for a shared vision for the future of Franklin. As I said, it's been difficult. We've worked at home for almost 3 months, but during that time, we completed an application with the City of Franklin for the National Civic League's All-America City program, and Franklin is one of 20 finalists across the country which has been selected as a finalist, and in August they will select the 10 cities to be named All-America Cities, and we are so excited to be working on that and would love to have your input and would love to be have you be part of the committee planning this All-America City presentation, which will be listed August 7th through 9th as part of what we believe will be a virtual competition this year. Just like we're staying virtual with many of our programs, we believe this national competition will be a virtual competition. So we'll talk a little bit more about our 20th at the very end of the program, but we want to get into why we're here today, and that's to hear from some of our community leaders who have led the response during this pandemic and during this difficult time about how they've responded. So we will go now to Dr. David Snowden of the Franklin Special School District. And Dr. Snowden, tell us a little bit about what you have had going on. You've been busy. You've been staying pretty busy, I would think.
Really, thanks for the opportunity to be here. And I just have to say before we really get into the slides is that how much we appreciate, number one, our board members for their support during this time. They provide unwavering support. I can't say enough about our leaders in the school and the other leaders in the district, our teachers, our staff members, and also our community partners. You know, I told people early on at one of our emergency management sessions that, you know, this was going to be difficult. We knew that, but I would think that we as a community were in better shape to address COVID-19 than a lot of communities just because of the community partnerships. And we're very appreciative of all of those. Going back to and I know this is an aside somewhat, and no one has an opportunity, no one looks at organizational charts, I guess, anymore, but our organizational chart, we believe, since 2001, is the right type of organizational chart. It's somewhat inverted. Our board is the foundation. Then you got the administration, and at the top of that organizational chart are the students and our families. And we believe that's, as an organization, that's how we have to respond. That's how we have to work and plan each and every day. But I'll say this, on the front end, I was so proud of our teachers and leaders, as I said earlier, but I was really proud of the fact that we closed school on Thursday and Friday prior to spring break. And we asked our teachers to come in and prepare for instruction for a 2-week period of time, just in case we were not able to come back to school after spring break. This was a little unusual. Usually if our teachers are out, our students are out, then our teachers are out. But I was so proud. They rolled up their sleeves. They came in on that Thursday and they began to prepare and copy instructional packets for our students that we were able. So once the kind of tumultuous time began to a larger degree during that spring break week, the following Tuesday after spring break ended, families were able to come and pick up their packets, instructional packets, on that Tuesday. And we may have a slide there, Carly, if you'll have the slide, the first slide, I think. Yeah, this was just a few of the ways that it was organized. You can see our leaders, our teachers really prepared and organized and had a systematic approach to providing this info. I mean, we had Chromebooks for our 4th through 8th graders who wanted one, band instruments, textbooks, worksheets, library books, and a lot of other things other than just the instructional packets that we were providing. So we felt like we had somewhat of a very good jump start, even though it wasn't perfect. We were very proud of the efforts to get into the hands of families and students the items that they would need to continue the instructional process to a certain degree. Again, we've constantly talked recently about how can we do better. And that's our focus going forward is how we can do better. Next slide, Carly, if you don't mind. This shows the pickup. You can see a lot of smiling faces. And as people begin to pick up their items, and just as an aside, I happened to be at Freedom Middle that morning, and the cars were lined up in front of Freedom Middle all the way out on Highway 96 West. Probably the police, the law enforcement were thinking, okay, what's going on? Because we probably had a traffic jam. You couldn't tell from the school, but parents were anxious. I mean, they had just finished spring break, just completed spring break, but they were anxious to receive the instructional packets and all the other items that we had set forth. Our folks did as much as possible to provide the social distancing, and we had so many parents who were so thankful that they provided coffee. There was food that was provided. So it was just a great experience, even though it was a lot of work and it took a lot of organization. I can't say enough about the schools, and those were volunteers that came to deliver those packets. We figured out early on that we couldn't really force people to come, and so we asked for volunteers, and we had plenty of volunteers that came in to provide those instructional packets. You'll go to the next slide, Carly. This just shows some of the ways that our teachers connected to our students. A lot of Zoom lessons, a lot of Zoom catching up, checking in with our students just to make sure that they were safe and they were okay, and very proud of the work that we had. Some teachers that went individually to students' homes to show us a sign, as you see there on the left. But phenomenal work by our teachers and by our administrators. We had parades around the city, around the school district, showcasing how much our teachers love our students and how much they missed our students. We had some buses involved, but overall a very positive response from all of our folks, and we're very appreciative of that response. The Zoom lessons, we thought early on, there was a risk reward. We knew that there was some angst from some about using Zoom, but we felt like the risk versus the reward was much greater than the risk that we faced in providing those Zoom opportunities for our teachers. And our parents were also very responsive to that, and they worked with us very closely. Next slide, if you don't mind. I don't want to dominate I know Mindy said we had an hour, but she didn't give me the entire hour.
I did not.
Here's just a slide that talks about taking care of some of our emergency needs. And if you look at that slide or the number at the bottom, over 118,000 meals that we served since March the 19th to students. And these were students that were 18 years of age and under. So we just didn't furnish meals for the students in the Franklin Special School District, but from 18 down, students could have meals. We were serving meals. We had school buses running to different parts of our neighborhood, providing meals, as you can see there on the slide. We also had grab and go, is what we referred to it as, at both Liberty Elementary and Poplar Grove. And so lots of people were able to have meals. A lot of students were able to have meals that they would not have had it not been for Robin Cross and the cafeteria workers. And of course, we had to have bus drivers to deliver those meals and also deliver to Liberty Elementary for their particular pickup. We operated out of one cafeteria for the most part. That was Poplar Grove. They prepared all the meals there. So very proud of that effort. And it was a lot of work. Robin Cross did yeoman's work on that week we were on spring break and getting through the red tape, because initially we were told, because spring break had already been planned, that we couldn't provide meals during that week. But Robin was able to get a reprieve, a waiver as such, and we began to start those meals a little earlier than we had thought we were going to be able to. And then the next slide, taking a bite out of student lunch debt. We had lots of students who had significant lunch debt. Again, this is a community effort here. We talk about our community and how great it is, and we can't understate that. When you look at the donations, the families, teachers, staff donated leftover funds in the accounts to help address these student the lunch debt by many of our students. So that's really exciting. I don't have a slide for this, my next comments, but I'll be as quick as possible. We're doing significant planning as we move toward reopening our schools in August. We have 3 basic scenarios. The top scenario that we hope and we believe would be best, if at all possible, is to have every child in school every day. And that's a big part of our planning. Obviously with significant risk mitigation for students and staff when they return. We want everyone to be safe, but we do believe that's the best scenario. The other scenario is if we have another extended closure, and I say if, but I should say when, because even if we're able to start in August, at some point in the future, we do believe that there will be another situation when unfortunately, when we have to have an extended closure. And our plan is to be better than we were during the first extended closure, be better as far as being able to provide digital lessons to a larger population. We've got about 10% of our population that don't have access to Wi-Fi. So we're addressing that, as well as having a device for every single student, K through 8. So that's our plan as we move forward. The other scenarios would be half the students attending school maybe Monday and Wednesday, the other half Tuesday and Thursday, and then have a Friday for planning and do that on a rotational basis. We believe that is a possibility. We would hope that that is not the case where we would have to use that scenario. But lots of plannings occurring. We've got a leadership retreat this week. Most of that leadership retreat, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, will be focused on those 3 scenarios and doing our very best to be totally, I don't know if you can, to be totally prepared in circumstances like this. I'm not certain that's a reality, but our folks, again, I can't say enough about the work that's being done in preparation for this. So again, that's kind of a quick synopsis of where we've been and where we're going. Again, thanks so much to the community for being such a great partner. We certainly couldn't do it without this partnership. Thanks so much.
Dr. Snowden, we had a question from one of our attendees, and it's a positive question. As a business in Franklin, how can we best help our schools, teachers, students, parents as they return in the fall? And how will you be communicating how businesses and other organizations can assist? Because you've had partners throughout this whole process.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I'd like to have some time to think about that to give a definitive answer, but we certainly are going to need support of business. And the one thing that we're concentrating, I didn't mention this, but thanks for helping remind me of this, but we know our students are going to have academic gaps because they've been out of school almost a quarter of the year. But more significantly, and what we have to address early on, are the emotional, social, and mental needs of both our staff and our students, because we don't know exactly how COVID-19 has impacted our students and our staff. So addressing Maslow's, those lower needs on Maslow's list will be especially important as we begin the school year. Other questions, Mindy?
No, I just think maybe right now it's for people to stay engaged and to stay informed. And you all have great communication system that you not just to communicate to parents, teachers, but also to the community. So just stay informed and engaged, right? That'll be how they can help. So
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Thank
all
you.
Right, thank you so much, Dr. Snowden. All right, now we're going to talk with where Franklin Special School District provided 118,000 meals during this pandemic time. We're now going to hear from Graceworks Ministries in Valencia, Breckinridge, who's going to talk a little bit about the unbelievable task of helping our community through this pandemic and how you responded and how you're continuing to respond. So Valencia, thanks for joining us this morning.
Mindy, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share with our community, as well as thank our community for the amazing support, and really coming on the heels of Dr. Snowden and hearing how he's thanking the community for support. Mindy, how blessed are we to be in Franklin and to see the members of our community rally around one another. This is what it's all about. I love education, Dr. Snowden. We all sit here in our positions because we were educated to do so, and those teachers invested in our lives, and I could go on and on. I love education. I'm proud of our school system. I'm proud of Franklin. I'm proud of Williamson County at large for the support. So Graceworks Ministries, as you all know, our mission statement is neighbor serving neighbor by the power of God's grace. And I have to say, we really stepped into neighbor serving neighbor in that we were able to serve so many because so many served us. Graceworks, March 19th, we decided to step fully into our core services and follow what our government and our mayor was asking us to do, and really step into essential services that we offer. So we closed our thrift store, just wanting to abide by what we were being asked to do by government officials and by the CDC. And we stepped into what we saw as our core services of food, rent, and utility assistance. And because our thrift store was closed, we were able to set up a drive-through food pantry model. Normally, pre-COVID, our neighbors were able to come into our food pantry and shop the foods that they wanted. We would invite them in the building and, sit down with them and vet them and understand their family size and special family needs, and then let them, with the assistance of our volunteer, walk through the food pantry. We revamped that model and did not invite anyone into our building. And instead, we served them through our drive-through food pantry, and we did rent and utility assistance over the phone. First time doing that, right? We had to step into some new technologies and new procedures, but I'm so grateful for my staff. They are amazing, and everyone can say that they went through this, where you have to make up new procedures and find new ways of doing things on the fly. There was not a lot of amping up, just hearing Dr. Snowden speak and say, oh yeah, it's just going to be 2 weeks. No. It ended up being something none of us could have foreseen. And we brought a big tent out. We had one computer inside, one outside, so the outside one could communicate inside in the food pantry. This is who's pulling up. This is what they need. This is their family size. Things that we had to vet them for. USDA, did they have dogs? Did they need diapers? We had toilet paper. Yay!
Yay!
And we had toilet paper because of the support of our community. It was such an amazing flow of things, Mindy. We saw record numbers of people in this small amount of time of our drive-through. We also had record food drives done for us. Church of the City, Publix, their managers came alongside us because we were an organization, we still suffered through and had to abide by Limit 1. Normally we get food from Second Harvest in Nashville, and they still supported us, but Second Harvest was just coming off of supporting tornado victims, right? And then they had to step into COVID-19, supporting all the food pantries. And so while they're an amazing organization, food was scarce. And we would go to our big box stores and say, hey, we're a local food pantry. Can we buy in bulk? No, limit one. And so, right? But yet we were seeing record numbers in the need with so many people, and especially thinking about our restaurant workers, those hairstylists that Mayor Moore talked about, people who give personal services, our hotel people, people who normally, one gentleman who came, somebody that we had not even, I'll say an industry we had not thought about, the music industry. He was a booking agent. There are no concerts. He's never had to ask for help before. Uber drivers, just everybody who was coming through who had been impacted by this. But at any rate, our community did food drives. So when, an entire housing community goes and does the limit one, well, when it's 30 of them, right, then they can go and go several times. We had one community come with 12 carloads full of food, just donating. The Church of Latter-day Saints, they sent us a trailer from their Utah distribution center, a trailer full of food. Church of the City did a big food drive that went on for a week. We were supported in ways, Mindy, when I was talking to our board, I would say I'm overwhelmed and overjoyed in equal measure.
That's right.
Normally at our food pantry in a 7-hour day, we would give out an average of about 37 carts, average. Our drive-through food pantry model, one, was operated just by staff. So when we started that model, I said to the staff, no one has a job description. We are all stepping into the core services of food, rent, and utilities. We asked our volunteers not to come. Again, keeping with wanting to limit who all was in our building, the number of people in our building. A lot of our volunteers fell into that age category where they were at risk. I wanted to keep them safe. So normally we would give out 35, 37 carts a day. In our 3-hour time span of doing the drive-through food pantry, just from 9 to 12, there was one day we gave out 143 carts.
Wow.
That's the increase of the need. I really thought at one point we'd have to close the food pantry. If you were following us on Facebook, we took pictures of our empty shelves. It was like, okay, and literally it was a fishes and loaves situation.
Valencia, what are you seeing as the need now? Because you've returned to a little bit more of your normal operations, but what are you seeing as the need now, and wrap us up on that?
Okay, so we did open our thrift store. We are at 50% capacity. We are asking you to wear masks if you come to our thrift store. So thank you, community, for that compliance. So we now have our food pantry open. We're doing curbside now. So we have allotted spaces for people to park, but you call ahead of time. We're taking 3 to 4 appointments every half hour. We've been steady. The need continues. The rent and utility, that need continues. Mindy, we have fed over 13,000 people in since March 19th, I'll say. 13,000 people. So the need continues. I'm sad that we've had to scale back a little bit on sustainability, and that when we opened our thrift store, obviously we had to close the drive-through model because we were using our entire parking lot. But we now have 7 hours to serve. Before it was just 3. We continue to be busy. Our food need continues. We're struggling for volunteers because some aren't comfortable coming back yet, and we get that, but the need continues, and we just can't do it by ourselves. So hopefully if you volunteered or thought about volunteering at Graceworks and you feel safe, we are requiring masks. We have some hand sanitizer. So we have need for food. Mindy, as you know, we've had to not do some of our events.
Right.
This is our 25th anniversary. So we had our anniversary dinner that we actually had to put entirely on hold and just step into our 25th anniversary. We're having a big birthday match in July. So those of us who want to celebrate the 25 years with us, please look for that on our website, graceworksministries.net.
Graceworksministries.net, and people can go there also and find information about if they want to volunteer.
Absolutely.
And give us your address for donating food.
So for donating food, it's 104 Southeast Parkway. We're right down from the Chick-fil-A there off Columbia. That'll help everyone remember. I do want to say, as we're talking about donations, right now we're only doing special days where we take people's thrift store in-kind donations. CDC asks that we hold things for 72 hours. We aren't able to do that in the building. So we've been having 26-foot trucks on certain days where we take in those donations and can hold them in the truck. So please don't bring donations of in-kind things for the thrift store, your clothes, your furniture, your household goods. We just can't safely receive them right now. And we do have special days allotted. We had some the prior weeks, and we'll let our community know when we're doing that again.
Okay, great. I can't wait to come back and shop, and I will be back soon. You know,
no, don't say, oh.
Oh, no. I mean,
look, you all, can you see my little outfit?
Yeah.
Yep. We're open our regular hours. We won't be doing our second Saturday. Please, community, hear us again. Trying to keep with our capacity limits, keep our numbers down. We're each doing our part.
Great. Thanks so much, Valencia. And you mentioned that people would come as a family, and one of the things that many people consider a part of their family are their pets. And so Ondrea Johnson from Williamson County Animal Center is with us this morning. And Ondrea, you all have found a way to serve the animals and serve the community while continuing to maintain your save rate and continue adoptions. Tell us a little bit about how the Animal Center has responded and what is going on there today.
Well, Mindy, it's kind of funny. As I was sitting here listening to Dr. Snowden and Valencia, I was trying to think, there probably aren't many organizations in Franklin that you could have had on that we wouldn't have had some overlap in partnership. But just so happens with these two organizations, as you probably know, we run a pet food bank, and that pet food bank is there to assist families in keeping their pet in their home. And one of the first things that we did when we shut down for COVID was, it actually happened in about a 24-hour period. We happened to be really low on animals, and I called Mayor Anderson and I said, hey, if we could get all the animals out of here and into foster, could we shut down to the public? And he said, absolutely. So the public jumped in and responded, and we cleared our shelter in a matter of about 24 hours. So that was an amazing response. And some of the people that fostered for us during that time were people who had not volunteered for us previously. So we were excited to engage with people in the community that we maybe didn't know before this. But the very next thing we did was we really ramped up our pet food bank, because we did not want feeding a pet to be a hindrance to keeping a pet, you know, if you lost your job or were losing your apartment or whatever. So again, we had lots of support from our community. Red Collar Pet Food made a huge donation of food that they brought over to One Gen. One Gen opened its warehouse to us and allowed Graceworks and the College Grove Pet Pantry, our food pantry, the school systems handed out pet food for us in those food distribution lines that Dr. Snowden talked about. Both Franklin Special and Williamson County Schools distributed pet food to families who needed it. We have a volunteer dropping off 3 more pallets of pet food at one gen this morning. So it really was a huge community effort, and I echo what Valencia said. How fortunate are we to be living in Williamson County?
For sure.
So yeah, I have a couple of slides that will show sort of what the shelter looked like over the last few weeks. We were shut down for about 10 weeks, and as you can see here, our numbers for adoptions did go down. A lot of people ask me, oh, I hear adoptions nationally are up. They definitely were lower for us, 2019 over 2020, you can see. But if you look at the number of animals that we brought in, and I apologize, I should have put that all on one slide, but if you look at the number of intakes that we had, our intakes were not, March and April were comparable, but in May, if you look at the cat, I mean, there is a cat season here in Tennessee. A lot of people don't know that. And it generally starts in April and runs through about October. May, our intake of cats was so much lower than it had been the year before that I think that was reflected in our adoptions, because we just had fewer animals, and the public was having to make appointments to see the animals. We did not do virtual adoptions. I know a lot of shelters did that. We did allow people to come into the shelter during that time to meet the animals. We felt like that was very important, but it did slow down the process for us a little bit. I know a lot of shelters have talked about to operate virtually, but we are pretty much back to full force. I will say we've had about approximately 50 people a day in the building since we opened up last Monday. We are going through our disposable masks faster than the county can deliver them to us. So if you are coming, we do ask that you wear a mask, and if you have one, please bring it, because I'm surprised how many people have come without a mask, but we do have those available, and we are asking people to wear them. Distancing here is a little bit more challenging, so I feel like the mask is very important. We are doing our very best to limit the numbers of people in any room at a time, particularly the cat rooms are pretty small. But if you've been over to our facility, you know that we are at maximum capacity here. Our facility was built in 1995 when our county couldn't have imagined how big we are now. So we are a big facility. We are really, really close to breaking ground on that. But in the time being, we're scrunched in here, and we even have people working in what used to be showers. So we do ask that the public would bring a mask if you come. I can't think, Mindy, the only other thing that I really want to highlight today is that we are starting in July, we're kicking off a new program, and it's a community spay-neuter program. Last year we had a community cat program, and we still do have that program where if you have a cat, anyone in Williamson County that has a cat, indoor, outdoor, friendly or not friendly, you can bring that cat on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we will spay or neuter that cat, give it a rabies shot, a microchip, an ear tip, and a couple of other vaccines, and we'll do that completely free of charge to any Williamson County resident. And that's for cats, and that's every Tuesday, Thursday. On Tuesdays, we run what we call the Snip and Tip Taxi. That is, you can drop your cat off at the Franklin Parks and Rec Center there. I mean, not Franklin, Fairview. We have folks out there every Tuesday morning from 7:30 to 8:30. We will give your cat an Uber ride to the shelter. We will alter the cat, give it all those services, and deliver it back to you after 3 p.m. But starting July 11th, we are so excited that we are going to have a community spay-neuter program completely free of charge, dogs and cats, if you live in Williamson County, it's you drop off between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. You do need an appointment, so call the shelter to make sure that we can only take 40 animals. We can take 20 dogs and up to 20 cats, or if we have 10 dogs, take 30 cats. But that's exciting for us because we've never been able to do dogs in the past, but we received a grant in order to make this happen, and we are just really, really excited to be able to offer that this season.
What's that phone number people can call for the appointment?
615-790-5590. And if you want to put that up on your site, Mindy, you guys can advertise that for us and help us get the word out. We would love to welcome you on a Saturday. And if you come July 11th, just know it's our first one. I've kind of asked for all hands on deck that day, but we may have some bumps in the road, but we would love for you to be our guinea pigs.
Great. So, I think the great news that we've heard this morning is that there is a network. There's a partnership among organizations in our community. And I think, Dr. Snowden, you were very honest to say when we face this challenge again during the coming school year. So I think that's true for us to be mindful of that. Any closing thoughts from any of our panelists or anything you want to reiterate before we wrap up our program today? Well, great. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Again, we want to remind you that it's our birthday, Franklin Tomorrow's birthday. Our charter date was March 20th of 2000, and we are looking for ways to mark that throughout the year. You can support Franklin Tomorrow in some unique ways. If you have a historic Franklin license plate, we appreciate that, and we got that passed through the Tennessee legislature. For those people who were part of the original 1,000 license plates, their renewal date is coming up very soon in July, August, or September, and we hope they will renew those for that. We're hopeful our Mayor's Cup Golf Tournament will occur on September 2nd, and we have whole sponsorships available for that event, as well as some other unique highlight or spotlight partnerships that we would like to encourage people. And you can call us at 794-0998 or send me an email, mindy@franklintomorrow.org, to learn about either of those. And then just some upcoming events. We are conducting all of our events following state and local guidelines for assembly. You can stay up to date through our website, franklintomorrow.org, or our Facebook page. Our next event will be our July 13th Frank Talks, and we are focusing that conversation on anti-racism and efforts in the region to focus on that. Our July 28th Breakfast with the Mayors, we'll make a determination closer to that event as to whether that will be an in-person event or a virtual event. But whatever we do, we'll always have a virtual component. And then we have been planning our July 30th, 20th anniversary celebration for several months. Again, all of our events will follow state and local guidelines for assembly. So we'll continue to work on that and see how that may come forward as we move ahead in 2020. We appreciate your patience this morning. Zoom updates, it seems, every other day. And so they add some new components that we weren't aware of on a Monday morning, but we'll try to do that next time. This recording will be available on our Franklin Tomorrow website, as well as on our Facebook page later today. And thank you again to our panelists, Dr. David Snowden, Ondrea Johnson, Valencia Breckinridge, Mayor Ken Moore, and Nicole Volk. And thanks so much, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Bye. Thanks.